Hey, Donald.
Governor Chris Sununu called Trump crazy, but he's...
All your friends, all the people that have worked with you.
He's a very, very flawed man.
They all think you're nuts.
The man cannot tell the truth, but he combines it with being a narcissist.
He's a populist, authoritarian narcissist.
Donald Trump is not fit to be president of the United States.
Our country can't be a therapy session for a troubled man like
Governor Sununu called Trump crazy and said if he was in a mental institution, he wouldn't get out.
Turn over the nuclear codes of the United States to an erratic individual.
Some serious character issues.
He constantly engages in reckless conduct.
Goes and he starts to say these wacky things.
But he's not fit to be president of the United States.
A consummate narcissist.
A narcissist at a level I don't think this country's ever
Donald
seen.
Trump's literally insane. And I think people are scared of him, and they should be scared of him.
Wholly unfit to be president of the United States.
I wanted to start with that ad from George Conway's Anti-Psychopath PAC, an organization that's really gotten under Donald Trump's skin, made him lose his mind, post away on Truth Social, really just get off message, which I think is incredibly important in this race to distract Donald Trump and really make him show who he is to the American people, how much he's lost it. But I wanted to play that ad, and I think it's important because it talks about something that we already know, but is incredibly true. And that is how many Republicans, former and current, have come out against Donald Trump. Republicans in Congress, Republicans across the country, Republicans who served in Donald Trump's administration. 40 out of 44 cabinet officials and high-ranking aides have not endorsed Donald Trump or come out directly against him because they know the danger that he poses to this country. But what is interesting is, of course, over the past years and during the Trump presidency, we saw those Trump officials come out against him. We saw those Republicans, current and former, come out against him. But what we're seeing now more than ever with this surge in enthusiasm and excitement for Kamala Harris is that it's not just former Republicans who are supporting Kamala Harris. We are seeing MAGA move away from Trump. And it is not all just the doing of Kamala Harris, which is really interesting. Of course, Kamala Harris's excitement, her incredible campaign are bringing Republicans over to her. But a new leaked report is detailing the way in which Donald Trump himself is costing himself Republican voters. How MAGA is abandoning Trump, really stabbing him in the back. MAGA voters are leaving Donald Trump, and we see MAGA Republicans quietly leaking out a story that they want Donald Trump to lose, and not just lose, but lose in such a devastating fashion that he no longer has a grip over the party. Now, Donald Trump lost by millions and millions of votes to Joe Biden in 2020, but of course, he denied the results of that election. Some felt like it was close, even though it was not. And so Donald Trump still had a bit of a hold on MAGA, as we can clearly tell. But what MAGA wants now, which I guess it would be former MAGA or Republican officials, is for Donald Trump to lose so badly that he leaves politics altogether. And I want to get into that story, detailing the way that Trump is being stabbed in the back, absolutely abandoned. But before I do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It goes a long way in supporting our show. Now let's get into this article. Top Republicans secretly pray for Trump to lose bigly. It seems it's not just Democrats who are hoping that Donald Trump will be dealt a devastating defeat in November. Several notable Republican figures also want the former president to lose to Kamala Harris, but aren't saying so publicly, according to Politico. Some GOP lawmakers see the possibility of a new Trump term as bad news for the party, the outlet reports. Among those concerned are proponents of free market economic policies who are concerned by Trump's proposed import tariffs, while abortion rights opponents are also skeptical of his inconsistent messaging on the issue, according to Politico. They're also reportedly concerned that Trump winning in 2024 could hurt the GOP's electoral chances in the future. There's a lot of anxiety about what Trump does to the Republicans' ability to win in 2028 and what he also may do to the party in terms of policy long term. One anonymous conservative leader told Politico, there is just this concern that, okay, if the party just goes in that direction, then what kind of party is it going forward? And can conservatives then have a home going forward? The outlet also claims concerned Republicans hope Trump's loss is by a wide margin in order to help stifle any attempts to cast doubt on the legitimacy of this hypothetical defeat. In a separate column, Politico's columnist Jonathan Martin claimed the best outcome for the future of the Republican Party is for Trump to lose soundly in November. For most Republicans who've not converted to the Church of MAGA, this scenario is barely even provocative, Martin writes. In fact, asking around with Republicans last week, the most fervent private debate I came across in the party was how to best accelerate Trump's exit to the 19th hole. In a statement, Trump spokesperson Brian Hughes told the outlet that Trump has unified the GOP like never before and expanded his coalition of support across partisan lines to Democrats and independents. So a little bit of trouble in House MAGA, it seems, a little bit of consternation, that hand-wringing, that uncomfortableness as Republican officials are privately leaking that they want to see Donald Trump lose. And again, we have seen high-ranking Republicans, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, come to mind, who have come out against Donald Trump. But I think, of course, them doing so publicly is incredibly important. But I think this secret leaking is just as important because it shows how divided MAGA is, and that must infuriate Donald Trump. And I talked about earlier how important it is to get in his head. But another thing that is getting in his head isn't just that Republican officials are privately leaking that they want him to lose, but he is seeing dwindling enthusiasm from Republicans. Kamala Harris is absolutely wiping the floor with him in that metric. Donald Trump, of course, cares about one thing more than anything else in this world, and that is himself. But other than that, he also cares about crowd size, a metric that he is losing to Kamala Harris. And I think the best way to illustrate that is within another incredible ad from the Anti-Psychopath PAC showing how crazy that's driving Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is rattled.
The Trump crowd is smaller than the Harris-Walz crowd was.
He's mad.
Trump was complaining that an estimated 10,000 people were at Harris's event.
He's upset.
The school administration stopped us from getting another 500, 600, even 1,000 people in.
Oh, Donald, do you ever stop whining?
Kamala, she was here a week ago, lots of empty seats.
Not enough people want to go to his rallies anymore. They want to go to Kamala Harris's rallies. Enjoy the rallies while they last, Donald, because where you're going, you're not going to be able to have any.
It was previously the case that MAGA was just bored of Donald Trump. We saw dwindling enthusiasm, but like that article talked about, Donald Trump's recent flip-flopping, his attempts to position himself as pro-choice or at least pro-IVF has enraged MAGA Republicans. So in Donald Trump's attempt to win over pro-choice Democrats and independents, he actually only showed them that he is so disingenuous and such a pathological liar, a great reminder of that, and at the same time really got under MAGA's skin, annoyed the most important base to him, and that is his own voters. And so Donald Trump, like I always say, everything he does really just backfires, and I think this is such a perfect example of that. And Donald Trump knows that he is losing these voters, and that is why he is losing his mind. Just recently, we saw a leaked email from the Trump campaign about how they're giving up on New Hampshire, a key swing state, and because of that, Donald Trump got so upset that he took to Truth Social and wrote this. Trump wrote on Truth Social, "Comrade Kamala Harris sees there are problems for her campaign in New Hampshire because of the fact that they disrespected it in their primary and never showed up. Additionally, the cost of living in New Hampshire is through the roof. Their energy bills are some of the highest in the country, and their housing market is the most unaffordable in history. I protected New Hampshire's first in the nation primary and always will. To my friends in New Hampshire, get out and vote Trump. Together, we will make your state and America strong, safe, and prosperous again." Now, of course, what Donald Trump is referring to there is how the Democratic primary no longer started with Iowa and New Hampshire, but instead started with South Carolina. And it's funny because a lot of Democrats thought that that would be a problem in New Hampshire, which still voted for Joe Biden overwhelmingly in its primary, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, of course. And so just such a sad attack from Donald Trump. Again, we can clearly see how much he is losing it, and there's really nothing that he can do to fix it. And really, he's only being hurt. And the most perfect example of that comes in his sad, unpopular running mate, J.D. Vance, who was asked about why he is so unpopular, kind of embarrassed in doing so by Laura Ingraham last night.
Senator, people, I guess they do these polls and they say, oh, your favorability isn't as high as Tim Walz's. You know, there's a gender gap for your ticket compared to Harris and Walz. How do you go to the undecideds at this point, the shrinking pool of people, and convince them that not only are you serious and you're seriously smart, but you're a regular person. I've known you for a long time. You're really fun. You're really funny. Versus the giggle and vibe show that seems to work for a lot of women voters out there.
Of course, we know that J.D. Vance is weird, and we know that MAGA Republicans are weird, but I like to see Fox asked J.D. Vance, what can you do to stop being so weird? And he kind of like tries to laugh it off. He kind of tries to chuckle, but of course he is so uncharismatic that it doesn't seem real. And it just shows the weight that is around the ankles of the entire Trump campaign being pulled down. This is a sinking ship. It really is. And there's nothing that they can do to fix it. And that is why Donald Trump is losing it so badly, because he does not have a message. But we do. And we're going to continue to call him out with that message every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can support this show by hitting that subscribe button, leaving a like on this video, dropping a blue heart in the comments if you stuck around to the end so I can thank you for your support. And if you want to take that support one step further, you can hit that join button and become a monthly member. And until next time, I will see you soon.